Welcome again to the Walter Schmidt Show, the super yacht topic and the super yacht market show. But today it's a little bit different point of view that we take on, because I have invited.
Hi, I'm Glenn Ratcliffe.
The guest that I have, he is not only an actor, he has decades of experiences. He used to play soccer, but I will tell him a little bit more about his story. And I'm very honored and I'm very pleased to have you on my show, Glenn Ratcliffe, the actor of the actors, from Hollywood, Los Angeles, right away to Switzerland over Zoom. Very much welcome, Glenn, here on my show. Tell us a little bit about who are you and what was your journey?
Well, thank you, Walter. Thank you so much for that nice introduction. Yes, indeed, my first love was actually soccer. I feel like I'm out my mother's womb kicking a soccer ball and playing the bagpipes, for goodness sake. I played since I was a kid. I remember one time I used to always to take the dog a walk for my pocket money back in Scotland, and the balls, they were plastic and they were 2 and 6, and that was my pocket money. So if the dog put his teeth in the ball, I had no soccer practice. So after many, many months of trying to beat the Golden Labrador chef in a soccer game, I finally succeeded. And he didn't put the teeth in the ball. And that, in a funny way, got me really good at soccer. Because the stakes were high, of course. If I don't beat the dog, I don't have a soccer ball. And then I was in all the teams. I was scouted to go to Glasgow Rangers and Wolverhampton Wanderers, played a little over here. But yeah, I certainly loved that game. It was my first love, and I have precious memories and experience about that. I actually drifted into acting by mistake. There was a call for an Irish priest that could juggle a soccer ball. It was a Michael Jordan Gatorade commercial. It was what we call a cattle call. In other words, there was hundreds around the block trying to get a chance. Well, I was very lucky because I played soccer so many years, and we only had one pair of shoes in those days for soccer, for church, and for school. So I learned soccer the hard way, and indeed I could juggle the soccer ball with regular shoes, dressed as a priest. So as luck would have it, I got that role. Then I got several other roles with not going to school, billboards and what have you. And then I decided to take it serious and study. And I studied in San Francisco for 3 years, then moved to Los Angeles. And I had an experience there going to do an Arsenic and Old Lace to play Mortimer Brewster in Hollywood. I was actually hit by a car. I had a little Honda Civic and a truck hit me. And it seems like something physiologically happened. It was like a death experience. My soul popped out of my head and I went spiraling around in centrifugal force. And my whole life was shown from the very beginning to where I was now, like a movie camera. And everything had the explicit detail. And I continued spiraling and spiraling up. And then finally I went beyond the gravitational pull and I went into the sun. Mm-hmm. And I became pure awareness. I had no body, but it was like a giant orgasm, is the best way I can explain it, because it was bliss. And I was the length and breadth of the sun, and I was just residing in stillness. I think they call it the quantum field now, but at the time it appeared just like the sun. And then I remember looking around, and the gentleman fireman was beating on my chest, and my awareness could see that. And as soon as that happened, I spiraled back the other way in centrifugal force. I relodged in my head and heart, and I came alive again. And that profound experience altered my life forever and my perceptions of reality forever. And this has been a journey of mine. I've been all over the world. I studied the teachings of Raja Yoga, Bhagavad Gita, initiated into transcendental meditation. 3 years ago, I went to Taiwan and got initiated into the Kuan Yin technique with Master Ching Hai, which is the technique of sound and light. So the reason I share this is the movie that I'm doing is a culmination of all my life experiences and all the spiritual experiences that I've had and how I feel I can format this into a story which will be entertaining and engaging, but yet raise the consciousness of mankind in this very inclement, dangerous times, because all spiritual texts will point to the fact that we are in the book of Revelations, and that's backed up and fortified by great prophets like Nostradamus, etc.
Well, let's go back first to the start of the movie. We go a little bit later into the movie deeper. How did this started? How has your career as an actor started, and why have you chosen to go into the movie industry? Because the movie industry is known as not an industry where you expect a high income. It's a lot of the actors, they don't do it for the money. They do it for their passion, because they feel like there is a calling for them. What was it in your case?
Well, that's kind of exactly it, because in between the soccer, I'd broken my leg and I didn't really have a job to go to. I dug ditches, worked in a plastics factory, I worked in naval yards, sheet metal worker. I had no trade really, but I was getting valuable life experience. And when that commercial came up with Jordan, even though it was something I could do effortlessly because of my soccer background, I felt a little tug to continue this. And right after that, I'd gone to San Francisco City College with a friend of mine who was actually seriously taking acting, and I was a driver, and I was going to go across the street and have a couple of pints of Guinness beer, and the director, the guy taking the class, he whistled. He goes, I need you to sit in. And I said, what? And he said, well, we're one short an improv scene here, and you're in a locker room, you lost the game. So I've been in locker rooms and I lost the game, and I really, 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 I'm passionate about that, because I was raised, it was inbred in me to play soccer. So I was very good. And he says, well, you're magnificent at doing that. I said, well, I was just being truthful in imaginary circumstances. I said, that's what I was doing. He goes, well, that's what acting is. So that was the second thing. I said, the Jordan thing was just a fluke. But this guy's saying to me, truthful in imaginary circumstances. And because of the fact that so many jobs and no education, I had to become like a chameleon and be truthful in the circumstances to keep a job. So all this kind of rang a little bell to me, is that thou shall be an actor. That's how it actually came about, kind of a fluke. And then I studied, took acting lessons properly to learn about it. And there was a period there where it was very frustrating, where my ego was saying, oh my goodness, you're not getting anywhere, this, that, the next thing. And that made me realize, Walter, I was doing it for the wrong reasons, because the death experience came a little later. And then I thought to myself, okay, it's a gift to be alive, number one. And number two, it's a gift to share your expression. You're supposed to share it. Don't worry about the results. It's not about the success. It's about giving part of my truth and my heart and soul. So by the time I had the death experience, recovered and went searching, the acting took a new realignment for me, where I decided I am going to do the best I can, but I'm not going to worry what people think about it. And then it kind of started to build as I put a lot of emphasis on discovering immortality, spirituality, and a lot of other varied experience. And out of nowhere, the movie Tested came. And it was just almost like channeled down to me. My hand was moving and all these characters were developing. And I thought, this is the purpose of my life, to make the world a little better by sharing this story.
All here by divine appointment.
And it just so happens the timing's impeccable. It's like Rocky for the soul. We're stuck in the book of Revelation here. There's homelessness everywhere. There's You know, the ecological chain is breaking. Big pharma's giving drugs out like candy. There's financial and political intrigue and confusion. People seem to be lost, the pandemic, all that stuff. So this movie contains solutions to the current problems. So that's how that came about, you know, getting to that level and doing this project.
You just mentioned Rocky Soul, and I've seen an interview that you have given me to watch from 2015, where he got interviewed also in regard of his movie Rocky and what was behind. And he said as well that it's not about the movie as such and to hit others down in the boxing. It is a metaphor. It is metaphor to really explain what it is about. It has to do also with beliefs and spirituality. So where is the connection between now that part that has been as a metaphor from Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, and your movie Tested? Because Tested as well, alone the name as such, Tested, it is really, it's a name, it's an expression. It's not even a name to me. When I heard the name Tested first, or the title Tested, I felt like, whoa, that is speaking to me directly. So what it is in your perspective, and what is the big why that you have chosen? Well, you said you haven't chosen it, it came to you, but tell us a little bit about that part.
Well, first to answer your question, Rocky for the Soul. Rocky inspired me because we're all underdogs. When that bell rings on the 14th round and he just wants to get through. And that to me synchronizes with the survival instinct of the human being. Unfortunately, now we've got blinders on it, and we're living in a synthetic reality with a virtual headset. So we can't see clearly to get up to go that final round. So Rocky is about the internal power and belief and willpower and how we can be touched by God with everyone. Everyone can be touched by God if we have that fortification and belief. But if that's taken from you and you don't know it, if I put a blindfold on you and say go east and I point you west, you don't know. So the correlation is Rocky fortified all of us at the time to fight and believe in ourselves, and we can be, and everyone's dream can come true. Tested is like Rocky on steroids, because the stakes are unfortunately a lot higher, and we're not playing, you know, a game here. Unfortunately, if you look around, there is homelessness, there is subject-object consciousness, there is wars, there is famine, there's all that stuff. The planet is getting hotter. Animals are dying. These are real things. So Rocky for the Soul is meant to synchronize with man's belief and faith that they're being tested. And if you're being tested, you can pass that test.
Is there an answer? Oh, yes, there is.
Because it's a test. It's not an ultimatum. You're not doomed. You can say, no, I am not going to vote that way. No, I'm not going to go to that financial institution and buy a car. No, I'm not putting my money in the bank. You start having all these choices because it's not an ultimatum, it's a test. But you need that Rocky strength. You need to be able to see the whole picture on a global level and truthfully say to yourself, where am I in time and space? What is really going on?
And you have a choice to make.
And this is what the movie does to you. It gently maneuvers you while entertaining you, and with all these great characters, turns and twists. It's a great story, but subliminally you're getting an understanding of who you are and how you've been deceived, and that deception has created the disease, the lack of harmony, the actual disasters in the planet, because it's a thought wave universe. If you keep thinking in these thoughts of fear and failure and anger, the microcosm is going to reflect the macrocosm, and you're going to get caught in a web of your own weaving. And the web we're in now is one of destruction, approximately 2040. So this is this is a much needed project to actually lift humanity up. And it's one person at a time, like Rocky. Everyone has that belief in themselves. So everyone says, now I am tested. Now I can get out of the trap. So that's why I believe it's like Rocky for the soul. And of course, it's in real time, which means we're actually in the book of Revelation. This is not like a Bible story, a hypothesis, oh, let's do Samson and Delilah because it sounds good. No, this is an urgent call to action because the planet's dying.
So
We don't
actually,
have a choice here.
we could actually say that this kind of movie, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a shift, a whole shift in the movie industry into another direction. That's number one that I'll see somehow. And secondly, as well, that before in The Rocky, as an example, where he used to play this actor, the boxer, it was designed for something's upcoming that you say, well, it's cool, it's great, I'll learn some things and I want to fight for life and I want to fight for the right thing. But now it is like we are not watching then the movie Tested, but we are almost in the movie, not as an actor directly, but actually we live in that time that the Tested movie shows to bring in not only the entertainment and the action and everything that people are astonished to see and to watch, but that has a direct impact, unconscious, most of the time, I would say, to the people that watch the movie to learn and to strive to going forward in their lives and sort of being very impactful for the environment, the total environment that includes not only one country, that is, I would say, globally.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely correct in that. And the whole key here is to understand deception. Deception means if I put you in a room and it's dark, you have no choice. You're in a room and it's dark. But if I take you out into the light, you have all sorts of opportunities. So unfortunately, because of the law and cause and effect and karma, because every action has a reaction. So the negative Maya side of things, purposely or unpurposely, have built up like an evil empire in many ways. I'm not saying it's deliberate, but it's the food we eat has got a lot of poison in it. The trees are being cut down. Products are sprayed and the ozone layers getting depleted. Whatever way you want to look at it, we're living in hell, not heaven, in hell. And it's a man-made hell because of ignorance. So we have the power to change that through actions, different actions. If I take you out of the room and say, look here, you're free. Okay, well, I'm free. I don't need to spray this. I don't need to cut down the tree. I'm free. So the spiritual liberation is imperative with Tested. And it starts at the causal level, knowing in your mind, a realization, a cathartic realization that you've been tested and the wool's been pulled over your eyes. And this will change filmmaking forever. You're absolutely right, because people are no longer going to sugarcoat the truth and make this a sci-fi Star Trek thing and, oh, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. No, you're living this. And the hardest part is you're in a hypnotic headset that's blinding you to the truth. You can't see it. You're just going through your life and you're accepting it. And the powers that be who are, getting further and further away. The middle class is collapsing because of the pandemic. Tenors all over the place. So this is the danger that we face. There's more of us than them. So what that means is we can create a tipping point. And it's been proven in meditation studies throughout the world. In Washington, they said everyone must meditate. I think it was 40,000 people meditated in one day in Washington 3 years ago, and the crime went down 30%, just with that one. Because the person who's not woke up gets a hit. Oh, I'll be loving and kind because I'm meditating on loving and kindness. So he has an alchemic switch. So with Tested, once you know what's going on, like Einstein said, your mind is stretched to the truth. It can't come back anymore. So Tested is going to stretch your mind so you can't come back anymore, and you can make a choice based on love and congruence and support of human nature, opposed to destruction.
So is that sort of a solution for globally issues that are happening right now, this Testedmovie with its content?
Absolutely, because everything starts with the microcosm rather to reflect the macrocosm. It starts with each individual. You know, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. So each individual, say they're in California, Switzerland, England, each individual, they're not individuals. That's the first thing Tested will explain. We're actually connected. There's a quantum field of energy where we're one. So Los Angeles and Switzerland, even though we appear to be separate, we're not really in the quantum field of energy. So this will raise what's called a tipping point, which means a cross-section of the population will have a paradigm shift. It's like the 100 monkey potato theory, where in Okinawa, Japan, the monkeys were starving and the potatoes were washed up, and they never thought of trying them, but they had no option. So one monkey starts eating the potato, and 1,000 miles away, within 3 hours, the other monkey was eating the potato, because it was now in the monkey consciousness. Like a spider was born to weave a web. When I implant this truth in one's psyche, it'll have tentacles in everyone's psyche. It's like when a guy goes, you can't fly a plane, but the guy started, the Wright brothers did it. Now it's accepted, everyone can fly a plane. So it'll be the same thing. When I implant this wisdom, they'll say, oh, I have a choice, I've been tested. I don't think, they're telling me something that's not right. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I'm not a victim. I'm a spiritual warrior that has a choice. This mentality will galvanize, and it will create warriorship, and it will create a new world.
Well, that sounds kind of interesting, and on the other way, almost a little bit scary for a lot of people, I would suggest. But as it is a movie that will be done very soon, a movie costs money as well to do. Now, in order for that, an investment is necessary. And also it needs to be saleable to have audiences and companies who buy the movie. How do you see the chances for the movie Tested, which is not only the movie, it's a whole movement at the end, but how do you see the chances in the market for that kind of movies, not only once, but several times?
Hi, I'm Daryl Marshak, and I'm part of the producing team. I looked at this project not only because it appealed to my heart and my soul, but I looked at it, how can this make money? And, you know, I thought of Michael Landon. Now, Michael Landon, for all of you folks that don't know who he is, he did Touched by an Angel, Little House on the Prairie. And, you know, I saw that he had that kind of nice, you know, there was some really action, crazy things going on Little House on the Prairie, you know, with bad guys and good guys. But I looked at this as a modern day kung fu or Columbo kind of movie.
The odds are very good because the faith-based drama industry is huge. In fact, 17% of the American public, that's their genre, and they spend $2 trillion per annum. So the fact that it is faith-based for the drama alone tells a lot. Mel Gibson's Passion of Christ at $6 billion. You know, this is even more impactful because it's in real time. If I say to you, look, I'm doing a movie about your life and it's going to help you get 30% back in your taxes, you're going to go, show me, right? So I'm going to show you how to liberate your soul and protect your family and children.
You can choose light or you can choose darkness. The choice is yours.
So I believe anyone with any conscience and understanding who wants to make the world better would invest in this. And the investment's very little. It's 1.4 million, which is considered a very low budget because we've trimmed the budget. We've got all the COVID regulations. We've got all the insurances. We've got most of the casting done, the locations. We've been working on it for 3 years. So the fact that it's ready to go, it's not like, oh, Glenn has an idea. This is a Lamborghini that's ready to drive. Just turn the key and it's gone. It's ready to go. And it will have an impact, a global impact that's going to be phenomenal. We have a Tested 2 lined up. We have a TV series. We have merchandising. We have music division. This is just like the tip off an iceberg. So anyone who gets involved in this can be involved in a massive global movement, which will have tentacles in all sorts of merchandising and media.
So it must be very interesting for an investor or people who are not only into investment and getting a return on investment as such money-wise, but are there other opportunities beside getting a return on investment in the money by participating in this investment?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. Obviously, the money, I think it's 125% back, but other opportunities like a producer credit. You can be unknown, but want to get into the movies, or you might be curious about the movies. You'll have a producer's credit in a major motion picture here. So that's something you can take with you all your life. You have perks. If you want family members to be involved, you might say, oh, my daughter wants to be, you know, she'd like to come to the set and hang out and learn about movies. In fact, I have some young kids in South Africa that are helping me with my social media, and I'm inviting them when the movie gets made, because of the work they're doing now. They're going to be part of the movie infrastructure and learn line producing, get a huge credit, meet people. And for me, the most important benefit, it's the peace of mind that knowing on your gravestone you can put, I did the best to make the world better. It's your sensitivity to the danger we're in. It's the strength and character and morality of your being that you're standing up for truth. And of course, the karma is extremely good. If you give love and help, it's been proven you get love and help back. So we think we're in synchronicity with a phenomenal venture here.
It's also a way to leave a legacy, I would suggest, for many people, because what I realize in many discussions with people, that when I ask the questions, what is your legacy that you want to leave, and what is your why that you'll live anyway? And it's interesting what answers that I get. Most of them are, for me, are pretty shocking. The realization that they don't even have a real answer for. And I could believe that if you have an opportunity to be part, whether it's in the film, for the production part, it's a huge answer to those two questions. And in my belief, also in investment, I mean, investors typically, they spread their investment in different markets. They diversify. They make sure that they make a risk mitigation somehow, which is why not in a movie? I realized that more investors invest in movies than I ever thought. I was surprised when I heard I have invested in a movie. You are investing in a movie where other people tell me it's so risky to invest in a movie. Obviously, it isn't that risky as people might say. So now, in your opinion, what is the risk mitigation that are present for investors who maybe are not really aware of what it means to invest in movies?
Well, like I said before, it's the faith-based industry is it's a 2.2 trillion business over here, and I think 17% of the American public are advocates of that. So when you go into the investment, it's like anything else. You've got to weigh everything up. You've got to look at the contents of the movie. You've got to look at the timing of the movie. You've got to look at the main artery of who we're trying to reach and why we're trying to do it. Mm-hmm. So I would say these facts, although there's nothing for sure, but these facts for me would allay any doubt that Tested is now going to be a hugely successful movie. And in fact, with the correct marketing, distribution, and publicity, we could see a profit in the first few months.
Now, in other movies, I heard that it is critically important who is involved in the movie production or as an actors. What kind of people are working on or in or with this movie?
Well, we have solid actors already committed to the movie, solid producers, solid acting coaches, and the LOI, which is a letter of intent from an A-lister, will come when that investment comes. And we have a short list of credible box office names that we will approach when the first funding comes in.
How many channels, maybe compared to 1, 2, 3 years before, in how many channels nowadays are movies visible, or are opportunities that arises based on the problems that occur based on those corona problems?
Well, that's an interesting question. The human being has been reconditioned to watch streaming outlets now because of, we're habit-based creatures. So even the box office is opening. There's a third strain of this pandemic coming across, so that could create confusion. But one thing is not is where there's no confusion is if you stream this on a Netflix or a HBO in your home, it's going to get ratings. And right now, the streaming outlets are desperate for quality content because they've got a monopoly. And until the theaters open officially around the world strongly, streaming seems to be the way to go. And there's Apple, there's PureFlix, Amazon, there's a lot of outlets we can approach. However, in certain countries, there's a strong point where theaters are open. So we're not closing the door to any possibility. We're planning to make this a major motion picture for theatrical distribution that can also be streamed anywhere in the world. We have dubbing outlets where we can change the language, because we've done a lot of research and algorithms in the Eastern philosophy and how many people would watch a movie like this, or in various countries in Africa and Europe, So we believe this is a movie for the ages because the content is relevant to every single human being. It's relevant to the guy that delivers the mail, washes the dishes, the guy that's a president of a company. It's relevant. The relevance is for everyone. There's no age limit because a lot of the kids, I call them indigo kids now, they have an upgrade in their software, very intelligent kids. And we've left the earth in peril and danger, burning up, half the world's starving, and we've nothing to give to them. So they're very, very much on board and advocates of something like this because the change is for their future. So all these things put together, if someone just sits down and analyzes everything, they'll see clearly and distinctly this is a massive, lucrative opportunity to make money, make an entertaining movie, and change the world for the better.
As I can see, there is not only to do money in the movie or with the movie for companies who have products or services. If they are in the movie as well with the product placement and they are in the new move, they will be a huge step ahead. I think the opportunity for investors now to really thinking 5 steps ahead is very important. And as I can hear out, you did really profound researches on the market, on the requests that are in the people's mind, what is now important, what is something that works, and also in combination with what is, beside being entertaining, very high educational for people watching these movies or that kind of moves, because it seems like, I gotta ask you now that question. Is there a sequel coming up in this regard with this Testedmovie?
These are all good questions. The first part, the product placement, that's very relevant. Statistics will show you if a product is placed in a movie, it gets millions and millions of exposures and money's made hand over foot in that. And we have options for that. We have a long shot, a medium shot, a close-up of the product. We have a 3-second, 5-second. We have whatever anyone would want. I was speaking to a gentleman who does vegan watches, and he's interested in putting his watches in the movie so far. So we, stuff like that. A doctor of mine sponsored my trailer and he has the men clinic, and we're going to just do a passing of his men clinic. And it's, of course, it's tax deductible because it's, you know, he's advertising. So the product placement is huge. So anyone out there, if you've got businesses, you've got a product, you've got an innovative idea, we can integrate that into the movie. That's possible. You know, we have product placement. And regarding, there is a sequel, Tested too, because Tested, as well as being a movement, it's an evolutionary movement. If you look at nature, it doesn't stand still. You plant a seed, a rose seed, and it grows, it's a bud, it's a stem and a rose, it's evolving. And as human beings are evolving, Tested will evolve. For example, for Macintosh, which is the spin-off, we're going to get a collaboration of socially conscious change makers and address their issues. Like, for example, why are old people dying in the hospital when their insurance runs out? Why is that? You know, and what can we do to stop that and prolong life? So these type of agendas, and my investors, if they have critical issues that they wish to address and get fanned out, if they say, look, I've got something that happened to me that was wrong, is conceivably I can write a story about that and present their story in the TV series. So I'm willing to give my investors a voice, not just an investment. It's a lot more than that. If they're in alignment with making the world better and they have a story, that will be considered also.
Once this movie makes money and you get some profits, what are you going to do with your profit?
My personal profit is, I have an agreement, it's called a foundation that I'm constructing. It's called the Ratcliffe Foundation. And where I'm putting my money in is the homeless situation. And the blueprint is, there will be a 3-story building. The first one will be intake, where I will take people in off the streets. Second, they'll be educated and cleaned up and therapy. And third, job placement. The purpose of this is to create a movement which will give people back their dignity. They're sitting there homeless. I want to take them and resurrect them. The plan for this is a turnkey system where every single city will have one. Then we'll take it to Africa, then we'll take it to Europe. You know, it'll just be a very turnkey system. There'll be volunteers, there'll be teachers, and that should clean up a lot of the problems we have, because the people are homeless because they feel they've no hope, because the system has crushed them and not given them a way out. So as well as re-educating the middle class and the people not homeless, once the profits come in, I'll lift up the homeless. And so this paradigm shift will continue and will evolve until there's none of that. There's enough food to feed everyone. There's enough shelter for everyone. These are the critical things that we have to do to create a paradigm shift to bring heaven on earth, which is where it should be.
Well, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And I think very, very neat on this planet that more people really think and take care about others, because to be united is the only way for also the human race to survive, as this is not new, but to take action on it. I think that's really the time now to make that shift happen. And with the movie Tested, which brings all the informations consciously and subconsciously in their minds, it's got to be also, I think, a real great success story. And everyone who wants to be part of that has the opportunity to be in there. Now, if people want to reach out on you or on informations, how can they find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, the first thing I recommend you all look at the website, because it has a brief synopsis of everything I've talked about. It's testedmovie.com. Testedmovie.com. And on the bottom there is contact information of myself, Daryl Marshak, and Jules Libin, who are the producers on the project. My personal email, if anyone has any questions, like to discuss this, the door is open, is Glenn, Glenn, Ratcliffe, Ratcliffe, F as in Fred, F as in Fred, E as in Edward, at iCloud.com. My email is glennratcliffe@icloud.com. I'm also available on WhatsApp for a local phone call if you just want to chat with me. And my number is 818-749-4654.
With a +1 in case you are
+1.
not from the
I'm
States.
sorry, 818-749-4654. I beg your pardon, +1. So it's +1, 818-749-4654.
There we
+1.
go. We have now contact.
We got it right. We'll be calling someone else.
Now, Glenn Ratcliffe is not only on the interview, but now he is going to be visible on the Super Yacht Radio and will be spread out through different channels into a market that is also in absolutely a need of opportunities in different ways. What is the last word you want to say before we wrap it up here, as time is flying? And I could actually talk hours and hours with you and listening, but that would be too long. So now what are your final words on it?
Well, my final words is a big thank you to everyone listening. That's sincerely appreciated for your time and your listening and your attention. And also just to please ponder this. The world needs you. You can make a difference. You are important. You can change the course of history. You can contribute and make a child smile again. You can enlighten people. You can be part of a movement that can help the world. So I would just ask that you do some introspection and just really look around you. See the homeless. Check why people are starving. Check on the pandemic. Don't brush these things under the carpet. Just really look and say, okay, where are we in time and space? Read the book of Revelations, check Nostradamus, and see for yourself, do a fact check, and you'll see indeed, we are in the middle of the book of Revelation. And that is a battle of Armageddon. That's a battle, whatever you want to call it. It's a spiritual war between negative Maya and positive going on right now. So my final words would be, please take a little bit of time to educate yourself and see the global picture. And open your heart and feel the pain of others and realize that you have within your power to help people, to help the world. And there's no higher calling. You can rest. The peace of mind, the karmic retribution is positive. You'll have a feeling of well-being. It's a beautiful thing to contribute to society. I just want to wish you all happiness and joy, and God bless you all.
Wise words for all you listeners and viewers from Glenn Ratcliffe. And as he already said, take action. Watch around. Watch this interview, not only once, but twice. Spread it. Forward it. That was the Walter Schmidt Show. Thank you very much having you here on this one, Glenn. And I wish you as well all the best. Take care, take action, become aware, open your eyes and heart, and be part of the movement to the better world. Walter Schmidt, award-winning author on the book on super yacht sales, with a super charge for the next super stage in this life on this planet. And God bless you.
And I am the truth.